Running out tomorrow is the deadline for the FBI and Department of Justice to turn over documents related to the anti-Trump dossier to the House Intel Committee. This coming after months of delays. Chairman Devin Nunes, frustrated over the delay, sent a letter to Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein, writing, quote, "It seems the DOJ and FBI need to be investigating themselves." Here now, Republican Congressman Chris Stewart from Utah. He is on the House Intel Committee. Well, of course, you're not supposed to investigate yourself. That's why you guys are there. But you can't do much good if they don't give you the documents that you are subpoenaing. What happens if they don't give you all, or if they just give you some of what you're looking for?
Well, look, this is an important issue. We are the people's house. And many times we feel like DOJ and FBI, others have said, you know, look at those cute little congressmen over there and their fun little investigation. You know, let's pat them on the head and give them a popsicle and send them on their way. It's completely unacceptable. Do you think the Department of Justice or the FBI or any organization is going to be responsible if they won't be responsible to the Congress? And if they're not responsible to the Congress, if they're not responsible to the people's house, then why in the world are we any different than Vladimir Putin in the way he runs his government?
Well, I'll tell you one way, even then, that we would be different is that Vladimir Putin would not allow it to happen. The president of the United States, you can understand President Obama's reluctance to have his Justice Department give out information to Congress, but why, for goodness sakes, can't President Trump provide a little pressure for an organization that is under his administration to come up with the goods that you guys in Congress want?
Well, look, I've asked that question about 1,000 times. If Hillary Clinton were a president, I would know the answer to that question. But I don't know it now. And frankly, Director Wray has got to be involved. And I think at the end of the day, it's a couple things. Number one is President Trump doesn't want to be perceived as interfering. The number two is that, and I think the more troubling question that we need to deal with right now is the institutionalization of these bureaucracies.
Right.
That you know, they're not President Trump's appointees in some cases. They're bureaucrats, they're career employees, and they just don't care about Congress. Or what a lot of people, I think, justifiably call the deep state. They are people that have been there so long, and they had an agenda against this man, Donald Trump, becoming president of the United States. We know that now, at least from what we have seen so far with the emails and the texts and so forth, that there were a group of people adamantly trying to prevent him from becoming president, even if the American people wanted him to become president. That's exactly right, and that is such a good point. Look, let's take the FBI, for example. They are generally apolitical. Excellent employees, public servants, most of them are great men and women trying to serve their country. How is it that in an apolitical organization such as that, you had Director Comey, who was surrounded by political hacks? People with very liberal and very emotional ideology.
Well, and again, you could be liberal, you could be emotional, you can have all those thoughts, but to actually use the auspices of the FBI or the Department of Justice to try to prevent a person who's been elected president from becoming elected president, I mean, that's treasonous. That goes against what this country stands for.
That's exactly right. It's like in my military experience. Look, I knew guys who agreed or disagreed with me on my politics, but it wasn't part of our job. And if you're in the FBI or if you're in the Department of Justice, you can hold those views, but it shouldn't be part of your job, and it shouldn't be something that you're talking about with other members, other people you work with, and saying, this is unacceptable. How do we change the outcome?
All right, Congressman, forgive me. I just want to switch gears a little bit, and we don't have much time, only about 30 seconds, but we got news today that Orrin Hatch is not going to run for senator again. He may be replaced, if the people so dictate, by Mitt Romney, who is not a good friend of Donald Trump, as Orrin Hatch announced he was. That could complicate President Trump's agenda going into 2018.
Well, it certainly does. And look, I'm friends with both of these men. They're good men. But I would say to not just Mr. Romney, I'd say this to anyone. Come and support us. Come and help the president. You know, there's much of this that, of course, Mitt Romney agrees with him. I think on the vast majority of the policy, Mitt Romney agrees with him. It's easy to criticize the president, especially as a Republican. If you want to be on the news all the time, go criticize the president as a Republican. But I think we have a greater responsibility in that, and that is, how do we serve our country? How do we implement policies that will help the American people? And I hope whoever replaces Mr. Hatch is able to do that.
Congressman Chris Stewart, Happy New Year, sir. Good to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Good to be with you. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Top aide to Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, sent sensitive state emails to her personal Yahoo account, which was later hacked by foreign operators, including the Russians. A new analysis of Abedin's emails while she was at State Department shows she routinely forwarded briefings, private correspondence, even state passwords to a Yahoo address. In 2013, Yahoo was hit with a massive data breach, which the company now admits affected every email account. President Trump tweeted about the incident this morning, saying, quote, "Crooked Hillary Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin, has been accused of disregarding basic security protocols. She put classified passwords into the hands of foreign agents. Remember sailors, pictures on submarine, jail. Deep State Justice Department must finally act, also on Comey and others." Joining me now is Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch, the organization which successfully filed a Freedom of Information Act request to release those Abedin emails. Congratulations, Chris. Who knew it would lead to all this? Can the Justice Department now ignore all of these discoveries and not do anything but prosecute this woman?
No, they cannot. At this point, there's such overwhelming evidence that really demands a de novo or a completely fresh look at this entire criminal enterprise being orchestrated by Mrs. Clinton. Remember, she set up that email server over which all this traffic went back and forth a week before she became Secretary of State. She did it willingly, wittingly, with full knowledge, intellect. This is a premeditated act on her part. And her staff, to include Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and frankly, other senior professional State Department staff all communicated with her knowing about this outlaw server. It is
so let me just stop you then, Chris, because what you were saying is it's not just an individual matter with individuals like Huma Abedin and others doing stuff they weren't supposed to do and putting our top secrets at risk. It was, as your words, a criminal enterprise designed and organized by Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely it was. And foreknowledge, forethought, it was deliberate, it was intentional, although intent is not an element of the crime. It's just, frankly, more fuel on the fire. Also realize that Judicial Watch actually got Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and 5 others under oath on these very same questions. And so our litigation broke loose this story. Frankly, if we had not done the work that we had done, no one would ever know about this.
Yeah.
No one would even know about Huma Abedin or even
I cannot, and I don't want to blow smoke in your direction, but I can't emphasize enough that the work you do has created just a tremendous service in unveiling stuff that was going on that really put our national security at risk, unlike anything I've seen by State Department personnel in my lifetime. But let me just ask, you say a criminal enterprise. Would that mean that there would be something like a RICO statute that would be used to prosecute?
Well, certainly this is a conspiracy, right? This is more than one person knowingly, willingly engaging in criminal conduct. And all these people have been, briefed and indoctrinated on sensitive compartmented information and classified material handling. They all know better. Many of them are attorneys. So they have sort of an extra duty or obligation for extra care in this regard. All these folks knew exactly what was going on, what they were doing. There are senior State Department people currently serving President Trump who had knowledge of what was going on.
Oh, absolutely. And there are certain people that are right now in Justice Department who were deeply involved in not only that, but in another issue, and we don't have much time. It's such a big one. We're going to deal with it later in the show, but I got to get your opinion on it. The Trump dossier. If you're going to talk about a criminal enterprise, you put together a group of people. Let's just spell it out for folks out there. You have Bruce Orr, who he and his wife were working with Fusion GPS to spread the Trump dossier and all the lies within. Andy McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, he was involved in pushing the Trump dossier. Peter Strzok, of course, he talked specifically about it as a kind of an insurance policy. His girlfriend, Lisa Page, who was also there, and of course others, James Baker. But these were individuals who were working together to spread something that was a piece of political garbage. It was paid for to begin with by the Hillary campaign. Millions of dollars they spent on it. Fusion GPS is a smear merchant organization, and they knew it. The FBI knew all this, but they were pushing it anyway to prevent Trump from getting into the White House. I mean, that is a criminal enterprise, is it not?
It is. And David, here's the hook. Strzok did Huma Abedin's interview under oath.
It's unbelievable.
So that closes the loop. It's a perfect circle on the conspiracy.
It is. And again, a lot of it began with your Freedom of Information Act.
Let it go, make my body go. Take our bodies higher and higher.